reading from Ideas and Opinions by Albert Einstein. We love Albert Einstein's mind. We love him on science, but he did deal with other issues, and it's interesting. So you want to get his take on it. I mean, in the old days, it's not like today. Someone who was brilliant back then usually had more of a broader view of the world. It's not like where they just got in a lab and didn't care about other issues. Today, other so-called geniuses or brilliant people get involved, but they don't really know. Like Bill Gates can great with Microsoft. He doesn't know anything about vaccines. I don't care how many experts he's been with and how much money he spends. Just like he doesn't know anything about education, and he spent billions, and his program failed. So um, I think it's important to read what the old thinkers thought about other issues outside of their expertise. About friends. Joseph Papa Lynkaeus, 1838 to 1921, Austrian by profession, engineer, famous as a writer for his pungent criticism of state and society and for his courageous program to alleviate social evils. Some of his books were banned in Imperial Austria. This statement appeared in Mein Weinbild, Amsterdam, Corrido Verlag, 1934. Papa Lynkaeus was more than a brilliant engineer and a writer. He was one of the few outstanding personalities who embodied the conscience of a generation. He has drummed into us that society is responsible for the fate of every individual and shown us a way to translate the consequence of obligation of the community into fact. The community or state was no fetish to him. He based his right to demand sacrifices on the individual entirely on its duty to give individual personality a chance of harmonious development. Getting to George Bernard Shaw. On the occasion of a visit of Einstein to England in 1930, this message was published in Mein Weinbild, Amsterdam, Corrido Verlag, 1934. There are few enough people with sufficient independence to see weakness and follies of their contemporaries and remain themselves untouched by them. And these isolated few usually soon lose their zeal for putting things to rights when they have come face to face with human obduracy. Only to a tiny minority it is given to fascinate their generation by subtle humor and grace, and to hold the mirror up to it by the impersonal agency of art. Today I salute with sincere emotion the supreme master of this method, who has delighted and educated us all. Okay, let's do this one. In honor of Arnold Berliner's 70th birthday, from, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, from Naturwissenschaften, volume 20, page 913, 1932. Berliner, a German physicist, was editor of that weekly from 1913 to 1935, when as a Jew he was deposed by the Nazi regime. 7 years later, at the age of 80, about to be deported, Berliner committed suicide. I should like to take this opportunity of telling my friend Berliner and the readers of this periodical why I rate him and his work so highly. It has to be done here because it is our only chance of getting such things said. Our training of objectivity has led to a taboo on everything personal, which we mortals may only transgress on quite exceptional occasions such as this. And how, after this dash of liberty back to the objectivity, the area of scientific investigation has been enormously extended and theoretical knowledge has been vastly more profound in every department of science. But the assimilative power of the human intellect is and remains strictly limited. Hence, it is inevitable that the activity of the individual investigator should be confined to a smaller and smaller section of human knowledge. Worse still, this specialization makes it increasingly difficult to keep even our general understanding of science as a whole, without which the true spirit of research is inevitable, handicapped, in step with scientific progress. A situation is developing similar to the one symbolically represented in the Bible by the story of the Tower of Babel. Every serious scientific worker is painfully conscious of this involuntary relegation to an ever narrow sphere of knowledge, which threatens to deprive the investigator of his broad horizon and degrades him to the level of a mechanic. We have all suffered under this evil without making any effort to mitigate it, but Berliner has come to the rescue, as far as the German-speaking world is concerned, in the most admirable way. He realized that the existing popular periodicals were sufficient to instruct and stimulate the layman, but he also recognized the necessity of a well-balanced periodical directed with particular care for the information of the scientist, who desired to familiarize himself with the development in scientific problems, methods, and results in such a way as to be able to form a judgment of his own. Through many years of hard work, he has devoted himself to this object with great intelligence and no less great determination, and done us all in science a service for which we cannot be too grateful. It was necessary for him to secure the cooperation of the successful scientists and induce them to say what they had to say in a form as far as possible intelligible to the non-specialist. He often told me of the battles he had to fight in pursuing this objective, describing his difficulties to me in the following riddle. Question: what is a scientific author? Answer: a cross between a mimosa and a porcupine. Berliner's achievement was only possible because his longing for a clear, comprehensive view of as large as possible an area of scientific investigation has remained so strongly alive. This feeling also drove him to produce a textbook of physics, the fruit of many years of strenuous work, of which a medical student said to me the other day, "I don't know how I should ever have got a clear idea of the principles of modern physics in the time at my disposal without this book." Berliner's fight for clarity and a comprehensive view of science has done a great deal to bring to life in many minds the problems, methods, and results of science. The scientific life of our time is no longer conceivable without his periodical. It is just as important to make knowledge live and to keep it alive as to solve specific problems. So, there you go. Einstein talking about some of the people he admired, some of the people he liked. And it's important to see who the thinkers admire. Very important. Oops, covering thing. Until next time, please, I want to say thank you for your support. Continue to support me. Scholars must also eat. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.